Hi, I'm Robert Cheeke, New York Times bestselling author of The Plant-Based Athlete. I went vegan on December 8th, 1995 because I grew up on a farm and I had animals as pets that had first names, like a dog or a cat, and I no longer wanted to contribute to animal suffering. So as a 5-sport athlete, I set out on a plant-based journey and vegan lifestyle, and here I am, more than 27 years later. Growing up, I always wanted to be bigger and stronger. I grew up during the era of watching He-Man and Captain Planet and pro wrestling, and I wanted to get bigger and stronger, but I was always kind of a small guy. And my older sister organized this animal rights week at my high school, and I decided out of respect for my sister, who was already vegan, that I would participate and become a vegan, whatever that meant. And it was during that time, that week in December of 1995, that I watched videos of factory farming and animal testing. And I decided that I really did not want my actions to contribute to that suffering. And so I changed my entire life that day and have been doing that for more than a quarter century later. And that's still the driving force behind my veganism today, that animals don't need to suffer for me to experience athletic success or just to go about my daily life. And so I've been committed to reducing animal suffering for my entire adult life, and I do that through my athletic career, through my books, through my speaking tours, through my travels, through wearing it literally on my chest or on my sleeve to represent that anything you can do, I can do vegan, and that I want to commit myself to compassionate and as cruelty-free living as possible, because at the end of the day, I know that every being, regardless of species, shares the same desire to live a life free of fear, pain, and suffering. If I don't want you to suffer, and I don't want to suffer, I don't want anyone else to suffer either if it's unnecessary. And so it makes sense from my perspective to not create unnecessary animal suffering when we simply don't have to.
Speaking of suffering, any kind of challenges that come with this lifestyle?
You know, there's a lot of ideas about suffering when you're following a vegan lifestyle, that it's limited or that it's difficult in social settings. And there's a lot of truth to a lot of those things. I mean, the fact is that plant-based food is not as easily accessible in fast food restaurants that are on every street corner in anywhere in America. And so there are a few things. It's what we call kind of like a green premium, that those of us who adopt a vegan lifestyle understand that sometimes we've got to pay a little bit more for a plant-based burger than a very heavily government subsidized animal-based burger. But we choose to do it anyway because for many of us, it's the morally right thing to do. And if enough of us do that, this is the beautiful thing, if enough of us do that, and we accept that because it matches with our morals or our ethics or our consistency and compassion, then this green premium will go down. And it becomes more accessible and more people can enjoy plant-based food because the price will go down, the demand will go up, the supply will match it, and very likely it becomes more accessible. And so it becomes more convenient, it becomes more affordable, and then it can be just as tasty as eating animals, as now we've been able to discover.
Yeah, and as an ethical vegan, I imagine it must get pretty depressing even at times, dealing with the non-vegan world or interacting in the non-vegan world.
I have an entire chapter in one of my new books about being vegan in a non-vegan world. And it can be challenging, it can be depressing. I often use terms that aren't sometimes super encouraging, that it is indeed a very dark and cruel world where our fellow humans are consuming the bodies of slaughtered animals, and we don't even think twice about it, or we don't even have a moral issue with that. And so that can be a little bit discouraging. But I think what we have to do is focus on the effective methods of reducing suffering, what does work, and realize that at the end of the day, animals don't care why you stop harming them. They just care that you stop. Whether you stop eating animals because you care about them, or because you care about health, or you care about the environment, or you care about some other issue, animals don't really care. What they care about is the fact that their bodies are not being commodities, and they're not being used for the only sole purpose of their existence to be consumed by other people, bred into existence to be slaughtered. And so there's many ways that we can do that. And I think we have to embrace the encouraging steps forward, which are for-profit plant-based companies that are in 2022 at over $8 billion industry in the United States alone for plant-based alternatives to meat, dairy, and eggs, and other animal-based foods. We've got to embrace that. We have to embrace the rise of veganism. 2,300 all vegan restaurants in the United States at the moment. We have to celebrate the fact that some dairy farms are shutting down, other farms are shutting down. There are even some companies that are switching over to plant-based milks. We look at the fastest growing alternative protein sector in the industry is the plant-based milk industry. It's faster growing and even a bigger industry than plant-based meats. We've got to look at the success of that and feel good that you can walk into a major, totally mainstream grocery store and now see that in the dairy section, nearly half of it is plant-based, whether that's milks or butters or creamers or ice cream or whatever the case is. We have to celebrate those victories because those compound and they add up over time, and they also boost morale, and they lead to momentum and enthusiasm and brings more people into the fold. We're now, in 2023, we have about 75 million people worldwide who identify as vegan. And even though recidivism is fairly high and many of those people will no longer be vegan a year from now or 2 years from now or 10 years from now, many more tens of millions of people will come to this lifestyle. And so we've got to look at the encouraging things and then lead by example and show people that you can build your body, you can even extend longevity based on real health studies like the Adventist Health Study with over 96,000 participants over 65 years that show the extended lifespan, increased longevity, reduced mortality rates for those who adopt a primarily or predominantly or exclusively plant-based diet. And so those are all the things to look forward to. And the fact that there are animal sanctuaries where you can see animals flourishing, those who were destined to be slaughtered, those that were going to be killed simply because of their gender or because of their species. And they don't have to be met with that fate. And that's also heartwarming and encouraging, even though we do live in a very dark and cruel world that treats animals as objects rather than individuals.
You have a pretty big support network?
Yeah, I grew up on a farm, and almost all my relatives are farmers or come from a farming background. So when I became vegan, it was very difficult. I had very little support. The internet was not really a thing back in 1995. People were concerned for my health. It was a difficult time. I was kind of going at it in many ways on my own, along with my sister and a few high school friends. But fast forward now, 27 years later, I have a community of hundreds of thousands of people who follow me online between all my social media channels. I have a tour that I've been on for 18 years. I wrote a New York Times best-selling book that's in 8 languages worldwide. It's called The Plant-Based Athlete. I've been running my own website for more than 20 years, veganbodybuilding.com. I get recognized at the grocery store, at restaurants, at airports, at venues, because I've been doing this for so long and people recognize that. And so, yeah, there's a great community in the vegan world. And so I do feel supported now. Where at first it was a little more isolating, the more I've done it and the more I've been part of this movement by attending festivals and going to events and networking with plant-based and vegan authors and chefs and athletes and doctors and other experts, as well as attending events where thousands and thousands and thousands of vegans gather together. That also builds community, and it's something that I'm so fortunate that I'm part of and so proud to be part of, that it's just part of my life now.
Could you be with somebody who isn't vegan?
For me, as far as a romantic relationship, that it would be difficult for me to be with a partner who is not vegan, just from the ethics and moral philosophy perspective, which is so important to me. I mean, that defines my entire life. I identify as a vegan advocate, as a vegan activist, as someone who's committed to reducing animal suffering and cruelty. And to be, I guess, in a romantic relationship with someone who doesn't share those core values would be difficult for me. And so I don't do that, and I haven't done that. I've been fortunate that my wife I've been with for 12 years is vegan as well, and our dogs are plant-based, and they have been ever since we've had them, including for up to 12 years for one of them, who's doing great at age almost 18. He's almost 18, and he's doing fantastic on a plant-based diet, which he's followed for over a decade. The hard part which we're all faced with, is not just our one, maybe, romantic partner that we have, but it's also our parents and our siblings and our children and those that we love as much, more, or just as much as someone we choose as a life partner. I mean, the people who who created us, our parents, we care so much about, and we want them to have a nice, long, healthy life, and we believe that a plant-based diet can help sustain that in a more effective way. And it's disheartening when they don't follow that path, perhaps. Or in my case, I come from a farming background. My brother is a cattle farmer. That's disheartening for me, because here's my younger brother, someone I grew up with my whole life, whose profession is to raise and slaughter or sell at the auction to be slaughtered cows and perhaps other animals, and that's discouraging. And again, I focus on the positive things, the positive traits about these individuals, perhaps, the reduction in animal suffering that they do contribute to. For example, when I go to holiday gatherings and my farming relatives prepare all kinds of plant-based foods that they went out of their way to go buy from the grocery store and contribute to the supply and demand of more plant-based products to accommodate me and my sister and my brother and those of us and my wife and who are vegan in the family. I focus on those kind of things. But when it does come to a romantic partner, from my perspective, I'm very fortunate. I'm very fortunate that my wife is vegan for the animals like me, and that we've been able to walk that journey together.
You have a quote you want to share?
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes. I say it in almost all my talks. It's from H. Jackson Brown Jr. from his book P.S. I Love You. Is 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the things that you did do. And so I think about that often, like how my life would be different if I didn't come to that decision to become vegan all those years ago. That I'd be looking back now as a vegan, wondering what might have been. I had an opportunity when it was first presented to me back in the 90s, and I didn't do it. And basically, that quote is about regret, right? It's about anything. It's about learning life-saving, life-changing information about how a plant-based diet can help prevent and reverse some of our chronic diseases that kill us in the largest numbers. But I didn't share that with my family or my friends or my loved ones. And I know I'm not the only one who's had to say goodbye to a loved one, a friend, a family member who passed far too soon because of diet and lifestyle diseases that were part of their standard American diet and Western way of eating. And that's unfortunate when people you love never get to spend a single day of retirement or pass in their 40s and leave behind a wife and children and all of that, which was the case with one of my closest friends I've ever had. And I think about that quote, that 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do, by the changes you didn't make, by the decisions you didn't take, by the actions you didn't believe that you could do. And I think about that, and I try to follow my heart, my instinct, my gut, my intuition, and very importantly, my compassion, and see where it takes me. And if I do that, and I do it wholeheartedly, and I'm consistent with it, then at the end of the day, I may not be asking what might have been, because I'll feel like the decisions I made were morally consistent with what I claim to care about. And so it reminds me of another quote from Rumi, who said, "Let yourself be silently drawn by the strong pull of what you love." And we have 1,440 minutes every day, 3 billion heartbeats on average in our lifetime. What are you doing with them? What are you doing with your time? And for me, how can I use the remaining heartbeats that I've got left to help other people and animals enjoy theirs too?
You ever think we'll see a vegan world?
I absolutely don't believe we'll see a vegan world. Will we see more of a vegan future? I think so. Why won't we see a vegan world? Well, largely because the way that we eat is based on culture, tradition, and oftentimes religion. And we have so many competing ideologies, competing major religions that people follow by the billions or hundreds of millions. We can't, even in individual countries, decide how it's most appropriate to treat people of different races or different genders within the same society. How can we get people 8 billion to 10 billion in years to come to all agree on a moral philosophy against unnecessary animal suffering? We can't even agree on how to treat other humans. How could we possibly all come together and decide that as a world we're all going to be compassionate towards animals when it's not conducive to even many parts of the world where there's 800 million people starving every single day, 2 billion people worldwide that are malnourished. We have to understand the bigger picture. We have to control what we can control. And for those reasons and many others, I don't believe we will see a vegan world. But can we see more of a vegan future? Absolutely. And it comes down to what every single person decides to put on the end of their fork and on their plate, and the calories that go into their body, and the source and nature of those calories. And if we can change hearts and minds and menus and meal plans, that's how we get to a more compassionate and vegan future. Unfortunately, not a vegan world, but the future starts with what we do today: personal responsibility, personal action, leading by example, and encouraging others to call upon their own intrinsic compassion, embrace that, and also eat the foods that are the most nutrient dense on the planet, that actually fight disease and help promote health. The foods that are the highest in vitamins and minerals and antioxidants and fiber and all of that. And when we can combine really healthy plant-based living with exercise, positive attitude, and a good outlook on life, and with a goal to lead by example, I think we'll get to a vegan future much faster.
I feel like overall, there could be a strong potential that we are more civilized, more humane, less violent, and that coupled with these lab-grown meat and all that, it'll at least be normalized and maybe get to a point where it's not necessary whether people want it or not. It's not necessary in that it's not even available anymore because it's so much more affordable to get the lab-grown and all.
Yeah.
And then we're more equality and all, and
Yeah, so the future takes time to evolve. So are we making progress? Yes, but we still have maybe 2% of the world's population identifying as vegan. It's a very small group. We've also had an animal rights movement for 60 years, 6 decades, and we're eating more animals now than any day in the history of the world today. And tomorrow will be even a bigger number, and the next day even a bigger number. That's just the reality. And so what are the solutions? Well, I think at the end of the day, the solution is making food from non-animal sources, whether that's cultivated meat or plant proteins or whatever the case is, making non-animal based food as tasty, affordable, and convenient as possible, then people will go that direction. So people will eat cellular meat, cultivated meat. People will eat plant-based proteins if the flavor is there, the cost is there, and the convenience factor is there. They will do it. And we're seeing that. And it's very early. We are so early. I mean, the internet is only a couple decades old, or a few decades old. Smartphones are still very, very new. Computer technology is new. Food innovation is still new. I mean, the idea of plant-based meats is still new. The idea of cellular meat is new. These are all still new. So yes, we are going to make more forward progress as the years go on. But we still have some of these giant elephants in the room that people by the billions disagree on fundamental ways of treating humans and animals. You're not going to get someone or everyone to change their worldview overnight, especially by the billions. And so we have to be patient there. It doesn't mean we sit back and relax. We need to be proactive, but we have to also understand practicality and patience and what actually moves the needle to reduce animal suffering. It comes down to the food and the food accessibility. It comes down to leading by example and showing that, yes, you can do this. And we basically have to change the way that the human population eats. And unfortunately, what I found, what many people have found, is that especially here in the Western world, let's just say Americans, are unwilling to give up meat. So we got to change the meat. Make it cellular meat without the cruelty and suffering. Make it plant-based meat without the cruelty and suffering. Bring the cost down. Make the taste on par. Make it convenient. Put it in fast food restaurants around the world on every street corner. Then, yeah, people will do it. And then they'll happily do it. It's not like people are just, they can't wait to go out there and slaughter animals or eat slaughtered animals. They're eating that way because of tradition and habit, and it's what they grew up eating throughout their entire lives. And so to ask someone to change their entire worldview overnight is a difficult ask sometimes. So you lead by example, you show up every day, you provide resources for people, you answer their questions, you give them food that is incredibly tasty, that's affordable, and that they can find conveniently, and that's how we get to a more vegan future.
With more vegan babies too. Lots of those been popping up here lately.
Yeah, human population growth is one of the issues. Because even though we have got 75 million people identifying as vegan worldwide, I mean, how many new humans are being born to consume animals and exploit animals for maybe the duration of their entire 80 years of existence? So we're just not catching up. We just can't keep up with human population growth. But once we start getting to a point where alternative proteins are just the way that you eat meat. That's just how, as Bruce Friedrich said, it's not my quote, I can't take credit for it, but like that's just how meat is made. It's just made through cellular production. It's made from animal cells without the animals, or it's made from plants, and that's just how meat is made. Just like today, meat is made through breeding, raising, fattening up, and slaughtering animals, which is incredibly ineffective and inefficient. Use of land and water and air and resources and calories and all of that. Crops that can be fed directly to humans and all the resources used. And then, of course, all the exploitation and labor for workers who are involved in doing the slaughtering and those repercussions and consequences and trauma that those individuals go through from having to be the people that pull the trigger or that slit the throats or that throw the chicks to be blended up or suffocated, that has profound implications as well. If we can move away from so much of that violence, then yeah, we're going to have a more peaceful place.
What does a day of eating look like?
For me, I'm a long time vegan, 27 years, been an athlete the whole time. So day of eating for me is fruit for breakfast. It's kind of the foundation of what I eat. Bananas and berries, especially in-season fruit, is unbelievable. Oatmeal and walnuts, sometimes bagels with a vegan cream cheese. Lunch is something like, I love international cuisine. So Thai food or Mexican food, or I eat plant-based sushi. One of my favorite meals is a burrito bowl. I mean, beans, rice, avocado, lettuce, tomato, salsa, maybe mushrooms, peppers, tofu, all these different things. I eat the same things other people eat. I eat plant-based burgers. I eat plant-based pizza. Pasta yesterday. I had a bunch of seasoned potatoes yesterday on my flight here that I prepared at home, or my wife prepared at home, and I brought with me for the trip. I eat at an event like this, at a health expo. I'm eating snack bars, throughout the day, fruit, things like that. But at the end of the day, I eat the same things that a lot of people eat. I eat burritos and tacos and sandwiches and wraps and pizza and sushi, oatmeal, fruit and salads, vegetables, all those same things that everyone else eats. I just eat it in a cruelty-free or as cruelty-free as possible way. And that's why I said earlier, anything you can do, I can do vegan. And that's the same with food.
Do you find that it's better to eat around your workouts in any certain kind of way?
I don't pay too much attention to workout nutrition, not like I used to maybe when I competed in bodybuilding a decade ago. For me, it's the fundamentals. Eating fruit before a workout. It's easily digested, it's quick energy, it's low in calories, high in sugar, high in energy, a good carbohydrate, complex carbohydrate fuel. So food before workout are things like oats, rice, legumes, potatoes, yams, sweet potatoes, maybe, an hour before workout, and then fruit immediately before workout. Could even be minutes before, having, blueberries or raspberries or banana. I often would joke I would walk into the gym eating a banana or two as I'm walking into the gym. And then, of course, post-workout nutrition, that's where you want more protein and fats. And of course, you want some carbohydrates and electrolytes and water and all of that. And so that's why something like a burrito bowl is so good. And so what I do is I work out in the evenings so that my post-workout meal is my dinner. Why? Because it's going to be my biggest meal of the day. So it's going to be my recovery meal and repairing and rebuilding those muscle fibers through the amino acids from protein, the calories from the fat, and the calories from the complex carbohydrates, and also replacing those electrolytes and things lost through sweat during a workout, and also just repairing muscles and getting enough sufficient calorie intake to be, in maybe my case, a calorie surplus in order to build muscle. So I do, just through habit, pay attention to some of those nuances and minutia within workout nutrition, but it's not top of mind. It's just habit. It's second nature after doing it for so long.
And no intermittent fasting or anything?
Nope. I joke that I do unintentional fasting. Like today, I've been busy all day long. I haven't eaten a whole lot today. Yesterday I was on a plane and I did eat some snacks throughout, but sometimes I do unintentional fasting. So for me, no intermittent fasting unless it's just unintentional. Although I will say, because I'm a little bit of a workaholic, I work late nights. I'm a writer. I write books. I work late at night, and then when I get up, I often don't eat until maybe noon because I go right to my computer and go right back to work, and then after, my last meal was maybe sometime before midnight, a little before midnight.
Oh, wow, that's late.
Yeah, I eat pretty late. Yeah. Oh, I don't leave the gym usually till 10 p.m., so dinner is 10:30, 11, and then winding down at 12. That's just my unique schedule as a writer, late at night. So I get to bed at midnight to 1, and then I wake up at 9, because I still want the 7 or 8 hours of sleep. And because I work my own schedule, I don't have to be at work at a certain time unless I'm doing an interview. And so I wake up at 9 and take the dogs out in the yard and start my day and maybe get something to drink, but some caffeine-free beverage. But I usually won't eat until closer to noon. So then I do have that window of 12 hours from midnight to noon. But it's kind of an unintentional thing. It's just a byproduct of my lifestyle. That's what I do. I mean, how many other people are in my exact position who are the same gender, age, body weight, have the same work schedule, the same sleep schedule, that kind of stuff? Like some people say, the best time to work out is in the morning. Not for me. You kidding me? I would be so weak, so tired, so hungry. It'd be completely ineffective. When's the best time to work out for me? After I've been eating all day long and I'm fueled and I'm pumped up full of calories and energy, and I've had a full day of eating and working, and I'm ready to go at 7, 8, 9 p.m. whenever I go train. And that's a great time for me to train. I'm at my strongest, and some people would say, I would be too tired at that hour. Well, that's because they get up earlier than I do. It works for my schedule. So the same thing with eating. Same thing with eating is that, yeah, some people might say don't eat after such and such hour and all of that, but there are so many different ways to achieve the same goal of just achieving health and high levels of health and fitness that you got to find out, I think, what's best for you. I mean, some people, 90% of the world's population is addicted to caffeine. Not me. I haven't had caffeine in 5 years. Does that make me better than anyone else? No, it just means that's what works for me. Right? I don't have to rely on caffeine or pre-workout stimulants to get through a workout because my body is already prepared to do it. So there's always going to be recommendations, how much water to drink or when to go to bed or when to get up, but most people don't always implement the best practices of all these different things. And so you got to kind of pick and choose what works well for you. And that's what's worked well for me.
Awesome. Well, thanks for clarifying that. And we're in Fort Lauderdale, and why are we here today?
So we are here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida for the World Vegan Bodybuilding Championships and the Vegan Health and Fitness Expo. I'm going to say that again. We are here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida for the World Vegan Bodybuilding Championships and the Vegan Health and Fitness Expo. We're here at the Broward County Convention Center. We've got a bunch of people here, speakers, including big name doctors and activists and advocates of veganism. We have vendors and foods and products and apparel and And of course, we have a bodybuilding competition, which I was the host of, which was a lot of fun to be up on stage and hosting this, especially as someone who's been in the industry for so long. So it's been a great time here at the World Vegan Bodybuilding Championships in Fort Lauderdale, April 2023, and I hope to be back again next time.
How can we find out more about you and your books? So you got a website and all that?
So I've been Robert Cheeke from VeganBodybuilding.com. You can find me on social media. My last name is just like your face or your butt with an E on the end. So Robert Cheeke. I do have a New York Times best-selling book, The Plant-Based Athlete, that is in stores wherever books are sold. And I'm working on more book projects. I'm working on my 6th book at the moment. So you can find my work on VeganBodybuilding.com, on social media, and likely touring to a town near you.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much for your time. It's an honor finally to have you in front of my camera. I've seen you everywhere, so this is just super cool. What's up, man? I just saw you in Florida, and now where are we at?
Now here, we're in Los Angeles
Yeah.
at the Animal and Vegan Advocacy Summit. Super excited to be here. Back to my roots as a vegan for almost 30 years. This is what it's all about. This is what got me going in this movement in the first place. Super pumped to be here.
You have some new things going on also. Talk about that real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a vegan superhero now. So I'm working for the Vegan Gym, the world's leading online vegan personal training company. I'm a writer, I'm a brand amplifier, I'm spreading the word. That's what I'm here at this conference doing, showing people that you can build your body on a plant-based diet, and there's actually an entire team of personal trainers, registered dietitians, physicians who can help you do that with a customized plan just for you. I mean, I even have my own one-on-one coach in the program, and he lives in Cape Town, South Africa. So we meet through Zoom. He's put together a program based on my interests and my goals and what I'm trying to achieve. And hopefully, I'm 43 and a half. I'd like to be in the best shape of my life by age 44, 45. So I'm hoping that the Vegan Gym is going to help me do that, and I believe that they will.
And so how is this maybe different from other programs that are already out there?
Yeah, so this is super comprehensive. Thousands of people have gone through the program, but importantly, there's usually 300 to 400 people in the Vegan Superhero Academy at any time. So not only do you have your one-on-one coach that's completely customized, I mean, just for you, the foods that you like to eat, your calorie needs, your tendencies, your preferences, the exercises that you like, everything is custom made. Not only do you have your one-on-one coach, you're part of a team too. Like I'm part of the Avengers. There's different team names like the Legends, the Avengers. There's 4 different teams. And within that, you're on group calls every week. So maybe 40 or 50 of you are part of this community, as well as the bigger, broader community of, at the very moment, I think there's like 376 of us in the program, but 50 of us are on a certain team, right? So we have weekly and monthly challenges. How many push-ups can we do together? Like all our team combined compared to the other teams, or squats or burpees or whatever. Plus, there's webinars every single week. There's seminars. There's master classes. You don't have access just to your own one-on-one personal trainer and coach. You have access to all the coaches within that team. So there might be 5 or 6 or 7 other coaches within that team. So you're on those weekly calls. I don't know if there's an issue that your coach, for whatever reason, isn't able to resolve for you. They've got a whole team of other coaches, registered dietitians, even physicians on board that will be able to help you out with whatever that is. So, and it's really cool. The Vegan Gym also gives back, a percentage of all their proceeds go back to animal charities. I've actually volunteered with them in person at Farm Sanctuary in Acton, California back in March, where there were a lot of downed trees from the heavy rainfalls, the flash floods, that we, as a team of about 20 vegan athletes, members of the Vegan Gym, were able to clear out all these downed trees and branches and limbs that they said that would have taken them weeks to do without our help. And furthermore, we had a booth, we're a sponsor of the LA Vegan Street Fair, and we had a pull-up bar. For every single pull-up completed by attendees throughout the entire day, we donated $1 to Farm Sanctuary. We raised $3,557 for Farm Sanctuary in one day from pull-ups.
Man, you should have got Joe DeMarco there. Do you know him? Do you know him?
Yeah, right. I only did 5, which I'm actually, kind of embarrassed about. That's actually one of the things that I mentioned in my application to join the Vegan Gym was that, man, it was kind of embarrassing. I was just volunteering to help out. Yeah. I wasn't working for them at the time, and I only did 5. That's all I could do. And I'm a guy who used to do 20 pull-ups or more. And I'm like, okay, something's got to change. I got to get a bit stronger. If even when it's raising money for animals, I was like psychologically, emotionally excited about it, and I could only do 5. Like, come on, Robert, you're a former champion vegan bodybuilder. What are you doing with 5 pull-ups? So, but that's just another thing that the Vegan Gym raises money for organizations through the success of their coaching business. They give back in numerous other ways, including sponsoring vegan events, which by being one of the main primary sponsors or title sponsors of the whole event, they provide revenue for that organization to be successful and then support it through all these different volunteer efforts or in revenue sharing and promotion. So just a super great organization to be part of, and I've just been there for a few months, but I've been a keynote speaker for them for over 2 years now at their big vegan superhero retreat, which is coming up soon, which is one of the best events of the whole year.
Wow, and what's that about? That sounds fun.
More fun than you can imagine. It's on a 300-acre summer campgrounds in the Pocono Mountains, okay? Bungee jumping, zip lining, kayaking, multiple swimming pools on site, golf driving range, axe throwing, archery, team sporting events. We have competitions, all our different, like the Avengers, the Legends, all these different, we have a team competition where you score points and playing games like kickball and dodgeball and these team activities where you earn points and win a trophy at the end. It's an incredible experience.
How long is it again?
It's about 5 days out at this large summer camp facility. So there's cabins, there's lakes, there's fire pit, there's dining hall, there's activities like karaoke and singing and dancing. We bring in a square dancing instructor, we all do that. There's about 200 of us out there for 5 or 6 days out in the Pocono Mountains playing all kinds of sports. There's a gym on site, plus we build a gym with our own equipment. And so there's one-on-one coaching and team, gym activities going on. There's steep hills to climb, just for general fitness. There's meditation and yoga going on.
Can we just do this year-round and live there?
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, I've done this vegan cruise for 12 years in a row out in the Caribbean. That's where I met my wife, and the vegan cruise is fantastic. But I have to say, I think the Vegan Superhero Retreat is probably even better, just because it's just focused on fun. It's like adult summer camp.
Yeah, some might argue the vegan cruise thing might not be so vegan.
Right. Yeah, it's from a sustainability, pollution
waste,
standpoint, waste standpoint, all that kind of
Whereas
stuff.
you don't have that with this.
Right. Yeah, this is super sustainable out at a campgrounds. And actually, it's actually the #1 campground in America for like overweight youth. So so a lot of people go there for to improve their fitness. Wow. So it's basically like throughout most of the year, there's a lot of youth, teens and younger who struggle with obesity and being overweight. And so the setting naturally has these steep hills you got to climb up and down, to get to the dining hall, and you got to walk long distances. Again, it's on 300 acres. And so you're naturally expending lots of calories just getting to the pool or getting to the dining hall or getting and then you're doing these activities, all these sports-specific activities, aside from like zip lining and bungee jumping, which requires no, physical exercise. A lot of the other stuff does. All the fun, even just walking out to where the archery field is or walking out to where the axe throwing is, you're burning calories. So it's dubbed as like, I can't remember the exact name, but it's something like America's premier #1 youth weight loss camp. Maybe that's what the word is, like youth weight loss camp in America. So the grounds are just, it's unbelievable with all the kayaking and stand-up paddleboarding and the trails and the lake and the nature, and you're out in these rolling hills out in the Pocono Mountains, hours from, we fly into Newark, New Jersey, and then take a bus out there. And there's hundreds of us out there. It's a completely vegan catered food with things like, all the fun stuff like vegan marshmallows by the campfire. It's all that kind of stuff. And it's just for members of the Vegan Superhero Academy and their friends and family. So you got to be in the Vegan Gym program it's just one of the things they offer in addition to their coaching program, which has, like I told you, a couple thousand people who've gone through it. For the many hundreds who are currently in it and those who have previously gone through, this is an opportunity to build community in person, which is really what it's all about. And for these people, who are the clients from all around the world, they get to meet their coaches in person, sometimes for the first time, because it's all virtual, right? It's online personal training through Zoom and through video chat. Like my coach, Coach Daniel, he lives in Cape Town, South Africa. I'll get the chance to meet him for the first time in person.
Man, that's exciting.
Yeah, we've got coaches who live in Dubai and Australia and, I don't know, Croatia, or all around the world. And everyone comes out to this event. All the coaches are there. 150 clients are there. The other staff are there. Like people like me, like I'm not a coach, I'm not a trainer. I work as a writer and as a brand amplifier for the Vegan Gym. I'm, like an ambassador. So, which is what I'm doing here at the Animal Rights Conference. I'm out here spreading the word about being a vegan superhero.
Yeah. And real quick, let's let everybody know where we are and why we're here. So where are we?
Yeah, we're in Los Angeles. Los Angeles, California, at the Animal and Vegan Advocacy Summit, AVA Summit, here to spread ideas and share and learn about the most effective ways to reduce animal suffering. And that's the theme of my new book too, The Impactful Vegan, which I don't know if I told you about it last time because we didn't have the title finalized until just recently. Oh, wow, cool. But it's The Impactful Vegan. It comes out June 25th, 2024, about a year from now. It's done. It's being edited right now. Okay. It's actually the second round of editing. I've already seen the book cover. I got it right here on my phone. Books are always finished about a year before they come out. Okay. It takes a little bit of editing and then 6 months of marketing, and then the book comes out.
Are you using Vegan Publisher?
No, mine is with Ben Bella, which actually publishes lots of plant-based books, including the most successful plant-based book, best-selling plant-based book of all time, which is The China Study. Over 5 million copies sold. And so they're publishing my book, The Impactful Vegan, due out in June of 2024. So this is an opportunity to network. Many of the vegan experts that I interviewed for the book are here at this conference, like Bruce Friedrich, John Oberg, Gene Bauer, people from Animal Charity Evaluators, Faunalytics. A number of the speakers and exhibitors are here at this conference discussing these ideas about effective vegan advocacy, which is, again, the exact theme of my book. So that's why I'm here. Now,
is there a specific website for the book, or?
Nope, not yet. I don't know that there will be. Okay. I run veganbodybuilding.com, and the Vegan Gym is helping me with that. And the Vegan Gym is also going to be helping me launch the book now that I'm working for them. So the vegangym.com, we'll have some info about the book.
Okay, and I was going to ask you about the URL for that.
Yeah.
And so vegangym.com.
Yeah, the vegangym.com.
Oh, it's the Vegan Gym.
Yeah, thevegangym.com.
All 3 words.
Yep.
Okay. And I guess they can go there to find out about this event, right?
Yeah.
What is the spectrum of type of people that would benefit from the Vegan Gym?
Right now, the current demographics are the average woman is age 43, the average man is age 40. There are people who are plant-based or vegan or will agree to adhere to a plant-based diet during the coaching program. There are people looking to build muscle, burn fat, gain confidence, achieve their health and fitness goals, overcome obstacles. We all know that New Year's resolutions don't really last. We all know that accountability and guidance is one of the most important things missing in a quest for health and fitness. If no one's holding you accountable, you're just not going to do it. Willpower fades, motivation fades, habits are hard to break. Old habits die hard. People who are looking for one-on-one coaching, someone who says, you know what, I know that I can do this with the right guidance, with the right support system, with the right community, with the right knowledge. For example, with me, I'm a former champion bodybuilder multiple times. I've written 4 books on the subject of vegan fitness. I've got a great background in that. But I don't have the motivation and willpower and drive right now that I used to. If I'm left to my own accord, I'm going to focus on writing my books. I'm going to focus on traveling. I'm going to focus on other things other than being in the gym. Yeah. And even when I go to the gym sometimes, 43 years old, I've been lifting for 20 something years, I kind of go through the motions, to be honest. So what I told my coach, Daniel, was that, hey, I want you to create a specific program for me where I can't dilly-dally and kind of pick and choose and cherry pick and do the easiest stuff. I want you to create the exercises that I will follow exactly, the compound movements that are going to give me the best results. And I also want you to create the meal plan for me. Because, again, if I'm left to my own accord, as long as it's vegan, I'll eat it, right? Because I don't have I lean towards healthier foods, but I mean, right before flying here, I had like multiple sandwiches with vegan mayonnaise, veganese all over it, and, with this white bread and all this. I will do that if it's not prescribed or meal prepped for me. And so that's where that guidance comes in.
Because you're a busy guy.
busy guy. I also admit that I'm kind of lazy at times. I mean, I'll just grab a bar, I'll grab a snack. Like I don't always plan ahead or prepare as well as I should. And so having this kind of guidance and structure, I mean, I just started as a client. I've been working with the Vegan Gym for a couple months, but I just started as a client like last week. So I'm brand new. But I'm telling you, if I can be consistent with this and follow through, very likely will see me in the best shape of my life, even in my mid-40s, because that's what it's designed to do. Having accountability, structure, guidance, those are the missing pieces for most people. And by having those, yeah, I'm probably going to be in really good shape, so watch out.
Awesome, I'm looking forward to that. There's a lot of people that I've interviewed that have mentioned you and have been very appreciative of your influence and speak highly of you. So if you've got more motivational things to come, I'm sure everybody's going to be very excited about that. Speaking of things to come, we've got Mr. America coming up.
Yeah.
Right? Talk a little bit about that real quick, and Vegan Strong.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. America's coming up. Some of the best natural bodybuilders in the country and maybe some around the world as well. And Vegan Strong is going to have a presence there with about 40 athletes competing. It's under the umbrella of Vegan Strong, but it's really Plant Built, which is something that Giacomo Marchese and Danny Taylor co-founded a decade ago in 2013 with the idea of, it was always like me as the only vegan bodybuilder on stage, or just Giacomo on stage, or just, one person at a time. And it was Giacomo's vision to bring as many vegan bodybuilders to the stage at one time to take over the stage and really try to dominate and win lots of awards, win lots of medals and all that kind of stuff. And so the idea was strength in numbers. That was something that we really wanted to do. So Vegan Strong got behind Plant Built. Giacomo's part of Vegan Strong and he's co-founder of Plant Built. And so they combined forces. And so now Vegan Strong is behind that. Therefore, I'm behind that and other people are behind that, and I'm a cheerleader these days. I don't compete anymore. I have some history, some background, some knowledge, some experience in that area, but right now, I don't coach anybody, I just cheer. I go there and help encourage people. They know that I've been through that experience too. I've been in the trenches, I've been backstage, I've been on stage, I've gone through it, and now, I'm honored. I'm very grateful for some of the words you shared. I realize, my place in the movement, and basically I was early. I was one of the first. I certainly wasn't one of the best. I think my notoriety came from just simply being early, ahead of the curve. I was never that good as a bodybuilder. I think I was okay at best. But because I was early, it certainly gives me a place in history, I guess. So I'm grateful for the words you shared, and that I know some people like Giacomo Marchese or Corinne Sutton or Danny Taylor or others may have shared about me. Yes. I'm certainly honored by that. And now I'm here to support the next generation of vegan athletes who are competing at a high level at the Mr. America in all types of sports, not just bodybuilding, but bodybuilding and fitness and figure and bikini and CrossFit and weightlifting and powerlifting and kettlebell, and I'm excited to be part of it. Ensuring that not only is it possible, but you can do really, really well, and try to encourage people if they see these champion vegan bodybuilders who win awards at Mr. America or Miss America, within the fitness context, that hey, you can do it too.
Yeah, man, you're so inspirational. I really hope I can find the time to slow down and really do something for my own fitness and well-being, because it's so easy to let that stuff go to the wayside. I want to represent as well as I can. And I do think that bodybuilders who are vegan have a purpose and make bodybuilding meaningful, whereas without it, it's just kind of like vain or something, and
yeah,
I don't even know how healthy it is to the extent that some people do it. The purpose is what drives a lot of this. That's something that I could see getting inspired by and helping me just be a better example.
It's all purpose driven. Yeah. And I probably said that in my first interview with you. My goal, and this is as honest as it gets, my goal when I became vegan in 1995 was that, man, I was so small, 120 pounds, but I wanted to be like He-Man and Captain Planet and Hulk Hogan. I really did. I thought, man, if I could get bigger and stronger, I could show people, as a vegan, if I get bigger and stronger without eating animal protein, I could show people that they could do it too, and that would have a positive impact on animals. I grew up on a farm, I raised animals, I bottle fed baby calves before going to school, I did chores on the farm, I took care of different animals, I showed them in 4-H, I sold them in auctions to be turned into food, and then I said no more. I don't want to do this anymore, and I'm going to dedicate the rest of my life to leading by example and showing that, look, I don't have the genetics for bodybuilding. I was a long distance runner. I was 89 pounds in 8th grade, 120 pounds as a sophomore in high school when I became vegan. I was a long distance runner in college. I was the furthest from a bodybuilder you could get on the scale, on the spectrum. There was just no way I fit into bodybuilding. A decade later, I was competing at the Natural Bodybuilding World Championships. You know, I built my body from 120 pounds to 220 pounds. I wrote a bunch of books about it, filmed a documentary about it, and it was all purpose-driven. Even right now, walking around this animal rights conference at the Animal and Vegan Advocacy Summit, people, I feel like I'm in okay shape. Mostly it's the tan, I think. But, I'm not in great shape. I'm in okay shape. But people say, man, I hope, I want to look like you when I'm in my 40s or whatever. I've had people say that. And I'm like, that still, inspires me to want to do this, to set an example that you can achieve whatever health and fitness goal that you want without harming animals, or at least reducing, animal harm as much as possible.
Man, I bet so many people would just love to reach through the screen and give you a big hug, man, because, it just...
Let's go!
I just love this, man. It's so great. Well, thanks again for your time. I saw you walking around a few times. I'm so glad you remembered me. And,
yeah, absolutely.
And we had an opportunity to get a part 2 in.
Yeah, and hey, it's the networking party right now, I think. Okay. So we don't want to miss that. Okay. So I think where you hear the chatter down there is everyone getting to know each other and spreading the good word and collectively sharing how can we come together to make the greatest impact on reducing animal suffering, and that's what we're here to do. Excellent. We're all superheroes, man. We're all vegan superheroes.
Yeah, virtual hugs.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.